There's 5 minutes left on the exam, and there's a page that I didn't see, and that's it. I need to lock in. But where does locked in really come from? Is it the flow state? No. Is it the use of motivation? No. Is it the power of friendship? No. The moments that you tap into the locked in state, you either have some urgency, or you're frustrated, or you have a strong desire to do something. Unlike the flow state, it's not necessarily intense concentration and kind of immersion with the task, but rather a will to do the task and say, alright, I'm going to do this. And distractions may come and you may get distracted, but you will push them aside and get back to task, boom, get back to task again and again. However, how can we use this powerful tool to our advantage in our daily life? Because it feels like there are times when we are high in our focus maybe, or we're intense in our work, but it only lasts so long, and then we find ourselves relapsing and then saying, well, I've just worked for 5 hours, now I'm chilling, or I've just worked for 3 weeks straight, and now I've had a whole week of just bad habits, bad sleep routine, bad everything. I want to go over the motion and the cycle of the whole relapsing and then getting motivated, blah blah blah. You probably saw on the thumbnail. I'm going to go through it very quickly. A little short story. Whenever you hear a snapping of the fingers, make sure that you fix your posture and you take deep breaths into your diaphragm from your nose. Enjoy the video. Let's say that you are unhappy with something in your life and you desire a change. So you muster the courage to make a change, to do something about it. This is called determination. Then you take action, you start your routine, your workouts, you start studying, doing overtime at your job, whatever it is. And you kind of get tired, but you overcome that tiredness, you overcome the obstacles. You feel unstoppable. And at some point, mysteriously you stop, although you don't even necessarily feel tired or like you want to stop, but you just stop. No longer pursuing this good habit or this hard work, you start to stagnate and to decline. This movement of declining after seeing how you were going up is quite depressing, and it brings your mood down. Until you get so far down that you really can't bear it anymore. It's taking a toll on your emotional state, and you feel rubbish about it. You feel like shit. You keep getting distracted, you keep having bad habits, you stay up late, you eat bad food, and you're by yourself because you were just locked in, right? You were doing your thing. However, you decide that you want to reset a little bit and you start seeing family a little bit more, friends. Get out of the normal routine that you're going through right now of absolute nonsense and say, alright, I'm going to try to reset my brain. And more you start to regain this energy. It's like a stabilizer, right? You reset your life and you're back to ground zero. As you have rehabilitated again from this bad state, you feel ready to do the work once again, and you want to do it, of course, because you have a strong desire to do this work once again. You say to these people that kind of were there when you were down and like helped you go back up, your family, your friends, your good hobbies, maybe you play the guitar, maybe you like singing, all of these things. You say, alright, I'm going to put them to the side for now so that I can focus on my studies or working more hours or on my gym, whatever, right? So you say, alright, I'm going to take a little break from all of this, people, objects. Hey, I need some time, there's some work that I really want to be doing right now. And you're back to zero, the start of the loop. And this will happen again. Now that we've created this little story to kind of get perspective, let's go to point 2, the analytical observation. We look at the entire loop. What can we observe? At some point, we fell. And at some other point, we started going back up. We can't really say what happened for us to fall, right? At some point, we just fell. But we can't tell what did happen when we brought ourselves back up. We know what we were doing at this time, that we were going back up, back to neutral ground. So let's look at the information that we have at hand. We started working, right? Working on something. It doesn't have to be work. It can be studying, or it can be grinding on your business, or on your physique, or on your brain. Whatever it is that you're doing, you're grinding. And letting a lot of other necessities, human necessities, away from you, apart from you. And after working throughout this neglection of our needs, we do have needs, psychological needs and such, we just went down. And this was the mysterious reason that we weren't really satisfying our entire soul. Not feeling these psychological needs is going to grant for us just things like depression, a depressive state, not really depression, where we are lethargic, where we are perplexed, right? We don't really know why, but we can't do the things that we want to do. When we reached this slump, we didn't have the desire to kind of get to work. We wanted a break. We wanted a refresher, you could say. So what did we do? We went to seek these things that we love, whether it be our hobbies, people, family, friends, relationships. We went for these things after neglecting them for so long because we know that they give us some sort of fulfillment in our soul. After feeding on these things, we feel with energy once again. After having the energy, we have that drive or motivation to do the work once again. But really, that drive and motivation was always there. It's just that we didn't balance it well enough. Likewise, for you and for me, we have things that we want to do. Maybe it is get a better body, maybe it is get A-star grades, maybe it is get a better job position. However, we must balance things, right? We may really enjoy food, but if we just sit down and eat all day, this is going to be at some point that we stop, because we need to burn some of the energy to eat some more. So we say, all right, I'm going to take a break from eating, and I'm going to sweat a little bit. I'm going to get in the sauna. I'm going to run, exercise, whatever, do some sparring. Because otherwise you're overloaded and you can't persist, you can't keep going. It is crucial, not only important, but crucial to balance things out, to add some of the things that make you love life. And maybe the work that you do makes you love life. Sure, but it's things that you need to do, even if they're maybe less important in your hierarchy of tasks and activities, that you must still do. You can't just work all day, like you still go eat, right? Because this is fundamental on a physical level. But there are things as well on a spiritual level which you must adhere to, which you must assist. You can't only say, all right, well, I don't need to see anybody, so I'm just going to shut myself in my room, study 10 hours a day, every day for the next 2 months. No, you will go crazy. We need, for example, social interactions, as little as they may be. Maybe you go to the shop, and then you speak to the cashier, say, hey, how's your day going, blah, blah, blah. You give small talk, or maybe you have a craving to talk to a female, so you go out the street and then you see somebody, a girl with a very beautiful something, and say, oh, wow, what a beautiful hair, hope you have a nice day, right, whatever. And this is enough to satisfy you. It's not necessarily, I'm going to go out with friends instead of talking to the cashier. It's not necessarily either, I don't know, I'm going to hook up with some girl, you shouldn't. But these are more intense doses of things. It'll be like eating, a bit of chocolate and getting some dopamine, or doing a line of coke and getting a lot of dopamine. It's like, there's a variance and intensities that are different, which will satisfy a craving or satiate. How do you say? However that word is said. Even more than the normal one. But you could do a little bit more of the less and satisfy it. But anyway, if it's healthy, you can do it. Sleeping around is not really good. Eating bad food is not good, and so on and so forth. You need to think for yourself a little bit. I don't want to give all the answers, but you need to think about not only your physical needs, but the spiritual needs and what goes beyond, which your body will crave in order to carry on doing the hard work that it needs to do. It's not only about eating and drinking and pooping and peeing. Moving on to section 3, the careful balance. Now, a lot of people will struggle with this part. I do. And it's not that our friends are burdens, neither are they at fault, right? This is the lack of accountability. It's not that they take us away from the task that we need to do. It's more so that we don't have any self-restraint. It's not like, oh, look at this girl, she's tempting me with the way she's dressing, so it's not my fault that I sleep around and I have sex with everyone. Bro, no, that's not how it works. It's, sure, there is a temptation, but I'd rather look away. Like if I saw, I don't know, a blunt right here on the table, right, of weed, I wouldn't just be like, it's there in front of me, so what can I do about it? You can make the decision to do something about it, to say, alright, I'm gonna chuck it out the window, or I might just ignore it or burn it. Not smoke it, but burn it. I liken our ability to self-restraint and self-discipline is what's usually going to make a lot of people stuck in this step. Because you might either do too much or you might not do enough, and you get to the point where it's like, well, they're distracting me from my thing and I'm not really getting enough of it, so I'm going to go away. Or maybe you say, oh, I spend too much time with them, so I need to cut them off and blah blah blah. I made this error of cutting off a lot of friends a few years ago without saying anything, or without giving a time limit. And for like 3, 4, 5 months I was locked in, like for real. And I was working a lot of hours, just still going to the gym, still studying for the army. I was doing a lot of things, and I thought, I don't have time for friends. And it's all pretty on paper, but the thing is, it will only last so long. And when you calm down, when that curve starts going down, you will feel like you are going down way more than necessary, and the time that it takes for you, because it won't just last for a day. You'll probably be in this bad spot for a few days until you recognize what is happening, until you get yourself together and you decide that, alright, I'm not gonna stay until 3 AM watching shorts. And this time that it would take for you to get back up to ground zero would have been a bigger waste of time than if you decided to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go with my friends out on Friday. Each Friday of the week, I'm going to spend some time with them, maybe at the basketball court. Maybe we're going to go out to play some pool. Maybe we're going to do some sparring, God knows. So it's somewhat robotical and maybe artificial. Shouldn't life be more random? But you should set yourself some determined time each, let's say week, let's say day, let's say month, whatever window or frame you prefer, to relax or to do activities that will quell that desire for, I don't know, that spiritual need rather. Now again, I just want to once again reinforce on the fact that this balance will be much better on the longer term. Yeah, sure, for the first run, it might be better for you to just work non-stop. And maybe you only necessarily need a break every 2 weeks, right? But you say, no, I'm not going to take a break and I'm going to go for it. And you last 2 months or something like that, working really hard. For the first point, as I said before, when you relapse, it's going to be terrible for you. Terrible. And you've probably experienced it before, where you've worked really hard and then at some point you stopped. You couldn't really pinpoint why. But life was dull and it was that way for a long time. But another reason is that's just an excuse for fear. Because you don't want to live life in a full manner. You feel scared about what may happen to you if you don't work so hard. But the thing is, in the first place, how do you really want to live? With a frantic effort to work hard and work hard, without ever really, heeding to your spiritual needs. What then is going to happen when you affront these things that you're working so hard for? You're going to be doing them without love. You're going to be doing them without spirit, just in a manner full of hardness, full of negative emotions, full of despair. You will not reap the greatest results that you could if you work from this way. You may still achieve the work that you want to achieve, but it wouldn't be to the highest quality as it could be. Or even better yet, is this even living? Should you even be feeling this way as you get through every day? Is that the correct way of living? Do you think? My take on it is that you should enjoy life, foster your relations with others. And if you find yourself at some sort of summit at some point in your life, wouldn't you want others to be alongside you? Wouldn't you want to turn around and see that there's a beautiful path behind you and there are friends with you there to celebrate and enjoy this view, rather than looking back and it's just all dark and gloomy and lonely, and then you look ahead and it's the same, dark, gloomy, lonely. There's no sight to enjoy. You are there worn out, exhausted and lonely. Whereas you could have been joyful, full of joy, full of passion, but you never adhered to your spirit. So your spirit now has left you in return. It's cool and all to be locked in, and to work really hard, but balance your life a little bit more. And I hope you liked the video. Strive to be 1% better every day, and much love.